Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm coming back to you with yet another video, and today we're talking about all things to do with motivation and about growth in terms of your career, in terms of, you know, making progress in what you want to do, in terms of your passions, your desires, all that kind of stuff, all in this video. So as always, please make sure you grab some kind of beverage, should I say, sit back, relax and enjoy the rest of this video. So I get this question asked to me all the time in terms of how to grow, how to expand in your career, how to ensure that you're developing, how to ensure that you're progressing, all this kind of stuff. I get it all the time. And I got a message recently from somebody who had messaged me and was basically asking me 1,000,001 questions, basically all the different things that I've just mentioned now, and more and some. And I basically said, you know what, I'm just gonna do a video on it because I get asked these questions all the time, so I might as well just do a video and hopefully help other people as well. So you would have seen on my channel that I did a video with Breeny I, the fabulous, the gorgeous Breeny I, who I was so excited to film with, let me just say, because I have been watching her since, like, you know, for years. You know, I was always inspired by her. She was just I just thought she was just beautiful, fabulous, everything. And as a woman of God as well, I was just like, oh, in awe. So to film and sit down and film with her, and for her to be just so humble and so lovely, yeah, I just want to say shout out to her. Like, she's an incredible person, and I adopted her as my sister, and we're now sisters, and she's just great. So some of the things that we basically touched upon, I might kind of restate in this video as well. So if you want a bit of a foundation, go to that video, because it's all about kind of like career, being confident in yourself, in your career and in your faith. So that kind of lays the foundation. Now I'm gonna actually give you guys some tips onto how you can actually do those things. So we did answer it, you know, pretty in depth in that video, but I feel like people still need a bit more. So this is just a video to kind of give you that little bit extra. So hopefully you enjoy this video and hopefully it does help you. So the first question that I often get is how to develop your knowledge, or how to grow your knowledge and just become a more knowledgeable person. Now, one thing that I will say is that I'm still young. I'm 21 years of age and I don't know everything. That is something that I've just accepted, and I think that is something that people, no matter how old you are, no matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, you should just accept the fact that, yes, obviously with time and life and experience, you get to experience more and learn more things, but you will never get to a stage where you know it all. That will never happen. There are too many books in this world for someone to be able to say, yeah, I know it all, because the only way that I can accept you saying I know it all is if you were to tell me that you were God. And if you were to come and tell me that you were God, I'll probably think that you were insane, only because we know that, you know, God is not coming back again until the end day. So then either it's the end day or you're just insane. Other than that, you know, we're not God. We don't know everything. We don't know every book. We don't know every, you know, scientific fact or anything like that. No matter how much you do research, there will always be knowledge that you won't know. But I personally see that as something amazing. I see that as you should always want to learn more, and that's one thing that I've been definitely trying to do over the years. I know that I don't know all the knowledge in particular areas, therefore it is up to me to go out and try and seek knowledge in those different areas. So one question that I get all the time is, you know, should I read books? Should I don't know, go to talks? Should I go to events? Should I do this? Should I do that? I say do them all. Number one is definitely reading. Now, people might not necessarily be interested in reading for whatever reason, just because it can appear boring and it can appear tedious, or especially if you're someone that's more kind of like on the maths and sciencey side, you might not necessarily want to read books. But I think that anyone who is anyone should be reading. And you know, nowadays we live in a time whereby technology is available, so you can listen to audiobooks, you can you know, watch seminars and stuff, which is like reading books as well. But there are so many different ways of accessing knowledge, but you have to be active in tapping into that. Pick up a book and read. Allow your brain to seep up knowledge from other people, because that is the way you will grow. I think reading is definitely number one. You know, if I had to place it in ranking, reading is number one. I try to read as much as possible. I read both, obviously, because I'm studying English literature at the moment and that's just my course, so I have to read anyway. But I also have a lot of books that I read outside of my curriculum. So a lot of books on success, a lot of books on building. So one book that I could recommend to you right now is a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by a guy called Robert Kiyosaki. Now that that book literally changed my perception of money and entrepreneurship and building an empire completely. Before reading that book, I had a limited understanding and limited, you know, knowledge of finance and of money and building and wealth attainment. After reading that book, I was able to kind of see how I can then access these different areas. And you know me, I talk about me building an empire all the time, and it's something that is a process, and it's something that you learn to do. I don't think there's anyone out there that just wakes up, comes out of the womb and wakes up and knows how to become successful, or knows how to become a millionaire, or knows how to become an entrepreneur. You get trained in these things. You have to learn the tricks of the trade, understanding how it works. And unless you're willing to put in that work and that time to learn and to attain knowledge, you won't grow, you won't develop. Essentially, you will stumble and you will fall because you are not prepared for the obstacles and the blocks that will come as you build and as you grow. So that's one book that I can recommend to you. Another book that I'm reading at the moment is a very thin book. It's called The Essence of Success, and it's basically a book by loads of different writers, loads of different people. It's quite an old book. One thing that I would have liked is if The Essence of Success had like an updated version, because I think the book was written in 1998. So a lot of the people's stories stopped at like 1998, I think. So basically, The Essence of Success is a very thin book with, I think, 12 biographies of 12 very successful people. So from Nelson Mandela to Oprah to Richard Branson, all these different people, and Bill Gates as well. And basically a really condensed narrative of their lives. You know, sometimes it gets really difficult to read lots of stuff, especially when you're busy, you're running around. But this book is literally this thin, and it just gives you kind of like the outline of the kind of stuff that they did, so that you can not only understand, you know, what they did to get there, but also understand maybe what not to do to get to the position that you want to get to. Simply because often people make a lot of mistakes. You might just end up, you know, cutting your time in half to get to that goal by learning from somebody else's mistake and ensuring that you don't make that same mistake. So I definitely love reading like autobiographies and biographies by different people. I've also bought Oprah's autobiography, which I need to read. I just haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm always trying to retain knowledge and trying to expand my kind of like my knowledge in that sense. So reading, I would definitely say, is key. Another thing you can do, I mentioned very, very briefly, is watching things, going online. Like, we actually have no excuse to attaining knowledge, because now you don't even have to leave your house to attain knowledge. You can literally go on your laptop, sit all day, read books. You could you know, go online, go on YouTube, watch lectures, watch seminars, watch talks, TED Talks, all these different talks out there to encourage you, to motivate you, to give you the knowledge that you need, again, to grow and to build. So I'll definitely recommend that as well. Watch lectures. If you know that there's a particular thing you want to do, whether it be you want to be an engineer, but you know that maybe the knowledge in class is not equipping you with the type of engineering that you want to do, or you know, you want to expand in a different type of way, or you want to start up your own engineering company or pharmaceutical company or brand or whatever it is, the best thing that you can do is feed your knowledge so that you can ensure that you are taking the right steps and going in the right direction. The next thing that I really wanted to talk about is how to grow. Not necessarily grow as a person, but grow, let's say, your brand or something that you have or a product that you're selling, and how to grow and ensure that you're accessing as many people as possible, whether it be your YouTube channel or whether it be whatever it is you're trying to sell or trying to convince people to be a part of, how to essentially expand and grow and actually progress in that field. Now, the first thing that I would say is something that I am always shouting and screaming about: networking. Guys, I cannot say it enough. Networking is everything, especially in the society that we live in that is so fast-paced, so fast-moving, and it's changing so much. The workplace and the way in which we work and we interact with one another is changing dramatically. If you are not networking and staying connected with the right people that might allow you to, you know, get that next job or meet that other person that would be able to, you know, offer you sponsorship for your business or give you this or give you that or whatever it is, if you are not networking, you are limiting yourself so incredibly much. I don't know how much more I can say this, but networking really is everything. You know, you just never know who you could connect with. You just never know who that person is. And of course, it's not always easy to network. You know, a lot of people get quite nervous. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are like, oh, but you know, I'm not really good at talking to people. Listen, practice makes perfect. You have to be able to put yourselves in those situations in the first place. force yourselves into those situations for you to get better in those situations. So for example, a lot of people always ask me like, how are you so confident? How do you go out on stage and, you know, talk to a big audience? Or how do you go to networking events and just be so open and so confident? Yes, I've always been a bubbly and a confident person, but I didn't necessarily have as much confidence as you see now. But the only way I was able to build on that was because I put myself in uncomfortable situations. Again, people don't like the term uncomfortable, and people don't like being put in places that they feel will test them, or they feel could potentially lead to a downfall. Because for you to be uncomfortable, you feel like, oh damn, like, oh, I don't know if I want to step in this area, I don't know if I want to do this. That's okay, you will always have that in life, but you can't run away from them. You run away from them, you will never grow, you will never develop. The best thing for you to do is to run head on, run towards those uncomfortable situations, run towards those uncomfortable opportunities, run towards, you know, those events where you do have to speak to people even though you feel really, really nervous. Run towards that, and what you will gradually see over time is that you slowly start coming out of your shell, you slowly start growing, you slowly start developing, you slowly start seeing that, oh, this isn't that bad. And what am I also doing? I'm also able to connect and to network with people, and to be able to ensure that I'm making those contacts that I might not necessarily need now, but I might need in the future. So I would 100% say networking is everything. So please don't be afraid of it. Embrace it with everything that you have, and push yourselves in situations where you do have to network. And people are constantly asking me, but how do you find these events? Where do I go? One way that you can find these events is something called Eventbrite. Eventbrite.co.uk or .com. I'm not 100% sure if it's .com or .co.uk, but I'll leave the link below. Eventbrite basically is just this site where you can kind of put down what type of events you want to go to, and it will locate all these events, and you can put a location as to where you would want to go to these events. So for example, I might say, I'm interested obviously in media, I want to go to a networking event in media in London. It will narrow it down, and it will even email you to tell you when an event is coming that comes under those categories and that specifies with what you have put down. It just allows you to be aware of all of these events. Another thing that I would also say to people is to ensure that you are using social media. Social media is so incredibly powerful and so useful, and it's free, guys. We don't even have to pay for it. It is absolutely free. Going on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and just following people that kind of do the things that you want to go into in the future, or doing the things that you aspire to do, is the best way to find out about events, because those people will be the same people that are tweeting about the events that they are going to, or they are, you know, posting on Instagram about events that they are maybe even speaking at, and then that can be an opportunity for you to go along to these events and to again expand your knowledge. So I'll say those are the two main things that I do personally. I have Eventbrite, and it always pops up and tells me when an event is happening, and because of my networks and what I've been able to build over time, people naturally tell me anyway. So people will be like, oh, this event is coming up, I think you'd be interested in it, just because I've kind of put myself out there and I've put myself and my brand in association with certain things. So when people think of me, what I often get is empowerment, encouragement, you know, female power, domination, empire building, all that kind of stuff. So naturally, when people see stuff that align with my thought process, and align with my brand and align with who I am, they let me know. So I would say, you know, put yourself out there, and also make sure that you are following these people on social media. Follow them so you can keep updated with everything that's going on. And so now to answer the question that I often get as well, is all about how to stay motivated, how to stay on top of it all, how to keep pushing through, especially when there are obstacles and a lot of difficulties that come along the way. Now again, I'm going to refer back to the video that I did with Breeny I. Please, if you haven't checked it out, go and watch that, because we touch upon all of these different things. But just to answer the question in itself is just understanding how yourself works. You need to be able to discipline yourself and discipline your mind, as I have said in previous videos and I've said to people before, to discipline your mind to say, this is something that I want. This is a goal that I have for myself, and I will do anything and everything in order to get there. Now, I can't convince you to become like that. I can't convince you to be like that. I can only tell you how I do it for myself, and hope that you will take it on board and encourage yourself to be like that. But in essence, you have to do it yourself. You have to be able to tell yourself constantly, day in, day out, even when you're tired, even when you have had obstacles, even when things have fallen through, even when you had plans and they've gone wrong, even through all of those situations, you have to be able to be so disciplined in yourself to tell yourself that, okay, this was a knockback, moving on, moving forward. I still have a goal, I still have a focus, I still have a vision, I have to keep going. That is not something that anyone, I think, can teach you. That is not something that anyone can instill in you. You have to be able to adopt that mentality yourself. So one thing that I would definitely say in terms of just general growth as a person, in your business, in your finances, in whatever it is that you're trying to do, is just to reorder the way that you think. Really take the time and make the effort to discipline your mind in order to be able to tell yourself that yes, difficulties will come, and that yes, this is not going to be easy, but I'm not going to be lazy, I'm not going to procrastinate, I'm not going to waste time, because time essentially is of the essence, and that's just the truth. You know, as I'm sitting here, time is ticking, but right now I feel like, okay, I'm being productive because I'm doing something that I said I was going to do. But if you're just sitting there and you're wasting your time and you're just procrastinating, you're the only person that's going to suffer the consequences of that. Don't allow that to be you. You need to be able to discipline yourself, tell yourself day in, day out, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to keep learning, I'm going to keep, you know, meeting new people, I'm going to keep expanding my mindset, my thoughts, my ideas, because that is what's going to make me a better person. That is what's going to allow me to expand and grow in my business. That is what's going to allow me to touch greater heights. All of these things all come together, but it all starts here. You have got to learn how to discipline yourself and how to push yourself, even when you don't want to, even when you're tired, even when you're crying and saying, God, like, I am so tired of this life, of doing the most, of being tired. I'm tired of being tired. Have you ever said that to yourself? Because I say it to myself all the time.
I'm like, God, I know I'm ambitious, but I am tired of being tired.
But then I always have to remind myself that, you know, I'm not just doing it for me, I'm doing it for my mum, I'm doing it for my sisters, I'm doing it for my family, I'm doing it for my dad, I'm doing it for, you know, all the people around me, to ensure that, you know, we do better, we get better, to ensure that when I've built my empire, and as I'm building my empire, I'm also encouraging my brothers and sisters to build theirs and to do what they need to do to develop and to get better. Everything that I'm essentially doing is more than just me. And when you kind of find yourself in your purpose in that way, I think there's nothing really that can come to you to stop you from trying to fulfill that purpose. So no, I'm not saying that it is something that happens straight away. I'm not saying that it's something that is easy, but it's definitely something that you can grow and develop on. But one thing that I will reiterate just before I close this video is, please seek knowledge, education, and understanding. Remember, education, why I say be educated, be beautiful, is because I've acknowledged that education doesn't just come in schooling. School is one thing, that's so limited. Education in that sense is so incredibly limited. Education, real, true learning, comes from the outside world, comes from expanding your knowledge, comes from meeting new people and having conversations and engaging and conversing and actually being interested in what other people have to say. Real education is trying new things, testing your abilities, testing your potential, pushing those boundaries. That, for me personally, I believe is true education. And that's exactly why I say be educated, be beautiful, because through education and through the hunger to learn and the want for knowledge, that is when you can fulfill your true potential. Through education and coming to understand how people think, that will allow you to become a better human being, because you are not judging people, but instead you are allowing yourself to understand people. So, you know, all of these things intertwine, and again, it's all a journey, and I'm still learning. I still have a long way to go, but I'm okay with that. And as long as I continue to learn and I continue to develop myself, that's the most important thing. So guys, I hope that you really enjoyed this video. I hope that it was also very useful. I really do hope that you continue to stay motivated in everything that you've got planned, especially if, you know, you're still on track for your goals of 2017, which I hope that you are. If not, realign your thoughts, recollect, and see how you can attack 2017 to ensure that it's the best year you possibly have. Remember, it can only be the best year that you've had if you make it that. So make sure you put yourself out there, get yourself out there, and build and develop. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Stay beautiful. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering about my hair, my lips, my face, whatever, all of that will be in the description box below. Don't worry, I got you guys. Bye.